There's no pressure at all. All right. Oh, I don't know. I guess I'll start with something. Uh, I think marijuana is a gateway drug. It's a gateway for realizing your boss is an asshole. You know. They say nitrous oxide kills brain cells that get in the way of your job at a gas station. So people keep telling me I live in a bad neighborhood because I live there. That's a good one. It's actually not true. I live in a bad neighborhood, but it's because they sell heroin there. So I actually had a guy at a coffee shop like walk up to me and says, "Hey, you know, I can get some heroin." And I said, "Do I look like I know how to get heroin?" Of course, I know how to get heroin. There was a heroin dealer right there, 15 feet away from us. We both knew him. His name was Keith. Keith. It's not a real heroin dealer's name, but Keith was right there, and we both knew him. We both knew he was a heroin dealer. So I just say, why don't you just go talk to Keith? He knows where to score the dope. He said, I don't like talking to Keith. I think Keith is an asshole. So I say, well, where do you expect me to find asshole-free heroin for you? It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. You don't get heroin without violence or prostitution or whatever. You have to do something for it. But he was like drawing attention to me, and I was already on drugs. Like I'm just sitting there, just trying to like relax because I'm on drugs, and he just kept scratching. He kept pointing at his car in the parking lot. His car's a fucking Prius. He wants me to go looking for heroin in a Prius. Like just driving around 5 Points in a Prius looking for heroin. Like you might as well just say, you want to go visit tigers in a styrofoam Jeep? You want to visit ATMs with a gun to your head? Do you want to do all of that realistic stuff on a Sunday? I said, no. In my head. I said, no. But luckily, there's a tweaker like sitting like 5 feet away from us. It was the smoking section at a coffee shop. So it was just nothing but junkies and me, who's, pretending. But he was just trying to teach some plants how to rebuild an engine. Like he's a tweaker. He's just like sitting there, standing there. He actually like graduated from meth college. Is there such a thing? You have to build a bicycle out of Gilligan's Island. It's all driftwood and coconut shells, and he wrote it, because he had his PhD. Yeah, he used parts of the boat, too. It's Gilligan's Island. That's advanced tweaking, So anyways, I see this guy just doing that, having this hallucination. So I snap my fingers, and he kicks all the holograms off of his legs and turns around. And he stares at me, and I just move out of the way. I just move into the restaurant and like to go use the restroom because I had to. I had to go. And I left those two staring at each other, like the world's greatest talker and the world's greatest listener are like staring at each other. And I just wanted to see what happened. I was like, I got in the bathroom. I was so excited. I just wonder what's happening. I get back out there. They're the best of friends. They were friends. They were all ready to go. I felt like the Jane Austen of 5 Points. Like they were all set to go. And they got into this fucking Prius, and they made a 12-point turn getting out of the parking lot. 12 points. It's like two junkies in a Prius. I let them loose. It's like two junkies in a silent car. It's like Braille for middle finger. Just loose in the world. But I didn't care because I was on drugs. It's great. It's great. So great. I was watching a documentary about spiders because I'm I'm that type of guy. And it was one of those David Attenborough documentaries, but it was like an interesting one because they were testing drugs on spiders. Do you know that this thing actually happened? They actually filmed spiders on drugs because spiders are the only things that can actually communicate with their world through the webs. And they can see how fucked up a spider is just by seeing the webs they draw. That's what they hypothesized. So they fed these like spiders, flies, laced with LSD. And the spiders started drilling really fucking crazy webs. Like first it was just like funnel webs because they were orb weavers. They started getting all 3D. Then they did little peace symbols. Totally unintentionally. I didn't even know. I was just like, and then like MOBA strips. And then finally, the spiders just spun a ball of web in the corner of the cage. Just a tight ball of web. They stood on the ball of web and they said, I'm done with this experiment. It's the truth. That's what they did. And no matter how much acid they gave these spiders, same result every time. Just fucked up spiders just standing on balls of webs, like defiant. And that's what they learned from like this experiment. I thought that's pretty impressive. You know, but seriously, what a horrible trip for these flies. It's a horrible trip, right? Because they have 10,000 eyes, and if they're on acid, that's terrible. It's the fucking worst, because, you know, and then they get stuck. They're stuck for the first time in their lives. Like, flies have no concept of, like, furniture or anything. Flies have complete freedom. They have wings, and they eat shit all day. And they love it. They love shit, and shit's everywhere. It's like complete freedom. They have that. Then they're on acid, then they're stuck. They don't know what that is. And then they get eaten by a spider. On acid. On acid. Like, what the fuck, you know? Like, if I was high on acid and a giant spider came after me, I would just think, oh, this isn't happening. It's not happening. Why aren't the breathing exercises working? And then I get eaten by a spider while I was on acid. It'd be like the fucking worst. Like I flipped out on acid, just 2 hits of acid, and I was at Disneyland. I flipped out on Disneyland. I was on Pirates of the Caribbean, and I flipped out, and I wasn't even on the ride. I was just staring at the restaurant. You know, it's just like I was in line. And they actually took me away. They actually take me to like a little section of the park, you know, the David Cronenberg section of the park. That's a fucked up section. It's all green. Have you been there? That's where they take you. It's by the canoes. It's actually really convenient to like the haunted hotel. Like the haunted house is like right there, and then they take all the drug casualties over there too. It's right there. It's awesome. It's like underneath the park. Man. No, I just rolled that. I wanted to generate empathy for flies, like in that joke. That was my goal. But they also tested like meth on the spiders, and they just realized they're covered in spider and flipped out. So that's actually the end of that joke. But it's a joke, right? That's a joke, except that all of that actually happened. So I should tell some jokes. I'm going to tell like stupid jokes. No, actually, I'll tell smart jokes. I'll tell smart jokes and one stupid joke. You have to pick out which one's stupid. All right? So if you're fans of William Shatner, you're fans of his music. Right? Do you know that William Shatner, Captain Kirk sings? He has 14 albums. I've listened to all of them, even the bad ones. But the latest one, it was fucking horrible. He does covers. Almost all covers is William Shatner albums. He did a cover of 8675309 by Tommy Two Tone. You know that song? Everyone knows that song. 8675309. It wasn't his version is not melodic at all. It's William Shatner singing that song. He just keeps saying the number until you get it. He just keeps saying 86, 75,399. All right. That's a joke, right? That's a joke. A lot of people say getting Divine to eat a warm dog turd. Divine, the actress in the movie Pink Flamingos, was the worst thing John Waters ever did. I learned this in film school. People thought that's the worst thing John Waters ever did. Turns out that's not true. Actually, the worst thing John Waters ever did happened 2 minutes after that, when he said, "Damn, there's no film in this camera." They say everything comes in handy for the obsessive masturbator. Okay. I don't know if you know this, but the Suicide Girls are being sued. You know what the Suicide Girls are? They're a burlesque group, the Suicide Girls. They have tattoos on them and everything. They're being sued. They're being sued for breach of contract. Yeah. And well, as part of the settlement, they'll be staging a live reenactment of Shirley Jackson's famous short story, The Lottery. You remember that? It's awesome. M. Night Shyamalan's all signed on to direct the shower scene. It's totally grim. It's the grimmest shower scene ever. Shirley Jackson. But of course, there's a great twist at the end because M. Night Shyamalan, and the twist is the audience is illiterate. Also, you should actually read that story. It's actually important if you're a comic. It is. It's super important just because of all the sacrifices and everything. It's great also, but... All right, so my ex-girlfriend has a Mayan calendar tattooed on her back. All right, in 2012, she expired. That's actually my stupidest joke. I want to say that right now. That's my stupidest joke, but I'll say another stupid joke. I know there's one in there somewhere. So I don't know if you're fans of porn. I'm actually the history of free porn. Am I older than you? I actually had a television with knobs on it. Did you have a television with knobs on it? I had a television with knobs on it. I made ashtrays in kindergarten. Like, that's how old I am. I was like a window of opportunity, like where that actually happened, And we brought them home to our parents, and they were like super happy. We actually got graded on those. Like, that's how old I am. But what was I saying? What was I talking about? Porn. All right, here's what we used to do. They used to send porn through regular televisions, but you had to get a scrambler to unscramble the porn. It was a little box you attached to it, but we didn't have the box. But what I realized is that if you just rake the little knob with all the channels on it, not the UHF but the VHF, between 18 and 19 was a channel. Between 18 and a half or 18 and 5/8. The channel, it was the porn channel, was on there in that frequency. And so you had to just keep raking it back and forth between static and everything. And you just hope that it would just stick. And it would stick for half a second. And I'd get so excited. It's 9. It's 1978. It's 1978. That's the first free porn. That was the first one. I was there for it. I was the guy who invented free porn. Back in the 70s, everyone just had to have sex. It was great. That was the free porn. But now it's all different. But I'm so jaded now. I'm jaded because I've seen free porn forever. I've had 40 years of free porn, maybe longer than that. So I can't get excited by porn. I have to actually just watch the 2 Girls, 1 Cup channel. That's a channel. The 2 Girls, 1 Cup. It's like weird porn. I watched one that had Wonder Woman on there, Wonder Woman porno, but it's the one where she uses her vagina as a golden lasso. It's great. It's a great porno. It just had no budget. Every time Wonder Woman screwed someone, they just told her they didn't know anyone in Hollywood. They didn't know anyone in Hollywood. That's what they told her. It's horrible. It was they had no budget. But I watched this one. It's my favorite porn is actually revenge porn with clowns in it. Revenge porn with clowns. And I watched this one. It's right up my alley. These clowns were getting items of personal importance from people. People were sending them mink stoles and jewelry and little cutlery and stuff and all these mementos that people had value in. And they would take them out of the box and they read the note that came in here. It was people I'm tired of my grandmother, I hate her. I don't care if I'm in the will or not. And there'll be a mink stole in there. And they read this note and they'd say, all right. And they would hang the mink stole all around the bed, like on these like old racks. And all these items were all over the bed. And then these two clowns would fuck on the bed for like 15 minutes, like really animal fucking, like right on the bed. And then the clowns would take all these items, they would pack them back into the boxes, and they would send them back to the original people with the video. With the video. That way when the people could wear the stuff or do whatever, they could show them the video later, and they go, oh, this is horrible. And that could actually exist if you had $8,000. If you had $8,000, I could make that, and it could exist. Because I know a few people in Simi Valley. Just don't leave items of clothing in my car. Just don't do it. Don't be a comic that leaves a vest in my car, because that'll happen. Because I have $300. I could send it over there. It could be done. Then you'd have another career, being the guy that wears that vest. All right. That's about it, right? That's been 10 minutes. That's 10. You want me to advertise or something? Well, I'm a life coach. You're always advertising, you're always marketing if you're a life coach, because that's what I do, It's easy. You don't have to know anything. You don't have to. You just have to charge people $60. Say you're a life coach. But here, I'll give you some advice real quick. This is really good advice. This is the best advice ever. I always open with all of my victims or clients. I say, hey, the only thing worse than failure is listen to someone tell you how to be better at it. Right? And then I immediately ask for payment. And then they pay me, and then I give them more advice. It's great, but I also have a patio. That's a secret. You have to have a patio, in the backyard. That way when the sun moves through it, they feel like their time is worth money. They see the shadows move. It's pretty good. For a whole hour, they feel like it's a whole hour. That's the most impressive thing, actually. But anyways, that's been my time. Thank you. Been Mike Coppolino.